Harris, Avery Bradley, and Boban Marjanovic for 2 reserve scrubs along with Blake Griffin. And it's just not enough to take the Pistons anywhere near close to the playoffs. That's about all I've got. Thanks,
Sure, Taylor. And again, as I said before, I have no problem if people are excited. I mean, Blake Griffin is clearly a better basketball player than Tobias Harris. He's a better basketball player than Avery Bradley. My concern lies in, A, you just took on arguably one of the 3 worst contracts in the league. The first year of a 5-year, $171 million pact. You're going to be on the hook that as Blake and his athleticism continue to erode, he'll get worse and the salary will get worse at the same time. $32, $34, $37, $39 million when he's 32 years old. That's dangerous. I'm nervous because, A, Stan's a bad drafter, but B, you gave up the first-round pick. B, you don't have any cap space really to do much of anything. So you've put yourself in a corner. Now, if somehow Blake and Andre can create something the league hasn't seen, and it can be dominating, maybe it can take you further than I think. But I still believe this deal kind of puts you in Atlanta Hawks territory with Millsap and Horford and Joe Johnson. You know, you might win a bunch of regular season games, but when you get to the playoffs, you got to win a 7-game series. You're probably tapping out in the second round. I mean, Mike, is that an unfair opinion? There's no emotion.
I don't even know if I'd put him up there with the Hawks. I don't even think it elevates him to that level. At least when the Hawks were, pretty good, they had Al Horford and Jeff Teague was balling out, and there was a lot of stuff going on there. I don't know what this. I've been trying to think of that ever since this Blake Griffin trade. What the new ceiling is for the Pistons? I don't know. A 6 seed? I don't think it elevates you to anywhere. A top 4 seed, a top 5 even seed. So from that matter, I don't think it really does anything in terms of this year propelling you to some, top-of-the-line playoff team.
Go to KL, 97.1. What's up, KL?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
How are you?
Man, taking it slow. But you made me jump on this phone with that LeBron topic.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to set a few things clear. You mentioned that he would pass Jordan and, all the statistical counts. I also think if he gets on that Warrior team, I would take them over the Space Jam team that Mike defeated. I'm telling you. So,
I know. You know what the problem would be? Nobody would respect or value anything he did in Golden State.
That's true, but he could still save it. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Now, if he does go to Golden State and wins a few token championships with them, he'll be hated. But by that time, Cleveland will be, still squandering the lottery. They'll end up drafting his son, at which time he'll go back to Cleveland and finish his final season.
All right.
Then he'll be beloved again.
You are out of your mind. You've been watching too many movies, KL. No, listen. There's a lot of good landing spots for LeBron. But if you value your legacy and if you have pride in what you do, you cannot go there.
He can't go there. And I also think this is kind of ESPN just trying to do what they do and create headlines and clicks. This is they
would never do that.
No, and I'm serious. All jokes aside, this is typical ESPN literally taking some source, some anonymous source, whether
network.
That's LeBron or not. And this wasn't even Wojnarowski. This was Hayes or whatever.
You know what's funny with ESPN?
This is a non-story.
Honest to God, this is going to sound the worst. I have had a high level of disdain for ESPN for going on almost 15 years. Like, everything they touch turns to poo.
Doesn't this seem like it, though, Mike? Doesn't this seem like ESPN taking one little thing and saying and literally
it's Super Bowl week. We need something on the bottom line. But, here, float out LeBron might go to the Warriors.
Right. They're literally saying LeBron would, quote unquote, listen to the Warriors. Okay, whatever. But they take that, and now there's another 2-3 articles on ESPN about what it would take to get him to Golden State, what each party would have to give up.
This is what
they're acting like they're acting like this is actually a realistic thing. This isn't happening. So let's just stop with it. I'm to a point where this is just typical ESPN. I don't know how else to put this report. He's not going to the Warriors. So if you want to say he could, possibly, maybe, have 1 year and consider list, that's not news to me. This is ESPN taking something that's not news and acting like this is some huge story about LeBron James going to the Warriors. This is insane.
That's their entire business model. The first letter in the company's name stands for entertainment. I mean, Mike, this is what they do. Put something out there, then, no matter how ridiculous it is, do a follow-up article of what it would take for it to happen, then do another follow-up article about whether it'd be a good idea for it to happen, and then do another follow-up article about the 5 other coolest ideas we've ever heard. I mean, this is the society we're in when you got to produce content 24/7, 365.
It's just not realistic.
I've got something that I like less than ESPN.
What's that?
Oh, you know what it is. Well, I'm going to get into it next. I think the people will enjoy.
Let me just use one more example here.
Oh, your
That's
show.
like, literally, if I could go on Twitter right now, and I could do this with no any sort of punishment, with really nothing. I could go and just say have a source. I could go on Twitter and say, hey, I have a source that Calvin Johnson might listen if some teams contact him about returning. And that's not, there's no validity to that. There's no true source to that. But if I went out on Twitter right now and tweeted that, hey, from what I'm hearing, guys, Calvin Johnson might just listen if a team wants to sign him next year, that would be picked up and reported by ESPN, by other places that think that's
now,
news.
Now, to be clear, are you reporting this, or is this simply an example?
I'm not reporting that, no.
Okay.
I'm using that as a complete example with no backing. I've not heard that whatsoever. I'd tell you if I have, but I haven't.
Thank you so much for that. We'll get to the phones, and I also want to present to you what I think is the dumbest thing in this business.